The Star Destroyer Exactor, second in a line of newly minted Imperator-class naval vessels, emerged from hyperspace and inserted into orbit, its spiked bow aimed at the former Separatist world of Marana. At 1,600 meters in length, the Exactor, unlike its Venator-class predecessors, was a product of quad drive yards and featured gaping ventral launching bays rather than a dorsal flight deck. In his quarters aboard the capital ship, now under his personal command, Darth Vader, gloved and artificial right hand clamped on the hilt of his new lightsaber, knelt before a larger-than-life hologram of Emperor Palpatine. Only 4 standard weeks had elapsed since the war had ended, and Palpatine had proclaimed himself Emperor of the former Republic, to the adulation of the leaders of countless worlds that had been drawn into the protracted conflict, and to the sustained acclaim of nearly the entire Senate. Palpatine wore a voluminous embroidered robe of rich weave, the cowl of which was raised, concealing in shadow the scars he'd suffered at the hands of the 4 treasonous Jedi Masters who'd attempted to arrest him in his chambers in the Senate office building, as well as other deformations resulting from his fierce battle with Master Yoda in the rotunda of the Senate itself.
"This is an important time for you, Lord Vader,"
Palpatine was saying.
"You are finally free to make full use of your powers. If not for us, the galaxy would never have been restored to order. Now you must embrace the sacrifices you made to bring this about, and revel in the fact that you have fulfilled your destiny. It can all be yours, my young apprentice. Anything you wish. You need only have the determination to take it, at whatever cost to those who stand in your way."
Palpatine's disfigurements were really nothing new, nor was his deliberate, vaguely contemptuous voice. The Emperor had used the same voice to procure his first apprentice, to ensnare Trade Federation Viceroy Newt Gunray in facilitating his dark designs, to persuade Count Dooku to unleash a war, and finally, to seduce Vader, former Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, to the dark side, with the promise that he could keep Anakin's wife from dying. Few among the galaxy's trillions were aware that Palpatine was also a Sith Lord, known by the title Darth Sidious, or that he had manipulated the war in order to bring down the Republic, crush the Jedi, and place the entire galaxy under his full control. Fewer still knew of the crucial role Sidious's current apprentice had played in those events, having helped Sidious defend himself against the Jedi who'd sought his arrest, having led the assault on the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, having killed in cold blood the half-dozen members of the Separatist Council in their hidden fortress on volcanic Mustafar, and who there had suffered even more gravely than Palpatine. Down on one knee, his black-masked face raised to the hologram, tall, fearsome Vader was wearing the bodysuit and armor, helmet, boots, and cloak that both camouflaged the evidence of his transformation and sustained his life. Without revealing his distress at being unable to maintain the kneeling posture, Vader said,
"What are your orders, Master?"
and asked himself, "Is this poorly designed suit the source of my distress, or is something else at work?"
"Word has reached me that a group of clone troopers on Marana may have deliberately refused to comply with Order 66.
Vader tightened his hold on the lightsaber.
"I had not heard, Master."
He knew that Order 66 had not been hardwired into the clones by the Kaminoans who had grown them. Rather, the troopers, the commanders especially, had been programmed to demonstrate unfailing loyalty to the Supreme Chancellor in his role as Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic. And so when the Jedi had revealed their seditious plans, they had become a threat to Palpatine and had been sentenced to death. On myriad worlds, Order 66 had been executed without misfortune. On Maigito, Salukami, Felucia, and many others. Taken by surprise, thousands of Jedi had been assassinated by troopers who had for 3 years answered almost exclusively to them. A few Jedi were known to have escaped death by dint of superior skill or accident. But on Marana, apparently unique events had played out. Events that were potentially more dangerous to the Empire than the few Jedi who'd survived.
What was the cause of the troopers' insubordination, Master?
Vader asked.
Contagion.
Palpatine sneered.
Contagion brought about by fighting alongside the Jedi for so many years. Clone or otherwise, there is only so much a being can be programmed to do. Sooner or later, even a lowly trooper will become the sum of his experiences.
Light years distant in his inner sanctum, Palpatine leaned toward the holotransceiver's cam.
But you will demonstrate to them the peril of independent thinking, Lord Vader. The refusal to obey orders.
To obey you, Master.
To obey us, my apprentice. Remember that.
Yes, my Master.
Vader paused with purpose.
It's possible, then, that some Jedi may have survived?
Palpatine adopted a look of consummate displeasure.
I am not worried about your pathetic former friends, Lord Vader. I want those clone troopers punished, as a reminder to all of them that for the rest of their abbreviated lives, they would do well to understand whom they truly serve.
Retracting his face into the hood of his robe, he said in a seething tone,
It is time that you were revealed as my authority. I leave it to you to drive the point home.